my name's Russell Strutz. I've always liked to be an athletic guy, although in my older age that has really diminished a lot. I've driven truck, but yeah, always just kind of fallen back into the construction field. So within that environment, I wear a lot of different hats. So as far as I can remember back, I went to church. My mom and dad had me in church when I was a baby. I'm sure that I was dedicated. Although I don't remember that. But I do remember going to church all the time and being baptized when I was 9. And then it seemed like by about the time I turned 14 and I was going into 8th grade is when I made the decision to just stop going to church. So I had a little bit of time in the youth group, and then throughout junior high and high school and part of my military career, I was really not walking with the Lord. Although I think because of my decision to be baptized that the Lord had a hold of me during all that time. I think that there was always an awareness. I felt bad for doing a lot of the things that I did when I was in junior high and when I was in high school, and how I treated people and just being selfish. But I was still always aware that the Lord was the Lord, and that I was probably doing things wrong. Out of high school, right after I went into the military, I was married. She was still in high school, but I waited till she graduated. After she graduated, I got married. I took her to Germany, and we had some time in Germany. And then after we got back, just after I got out of the Army is when we ended up getting divorced. We were married for a very short time, no kids. And it was at that point in my life when I realized that I needed to do some things to change and go back to the Lord. And after that, a couple years later, I met Rochelle, and I just kept falling into this cyclical kind of relationship with the Lord, where I would hold him as the center and then put me in a subordinate role. But then something would happen, and the next thing I know, my position had changed, and the Lord was in that subordinate role, and I was, doing what I was doing. I just have had this relationship with the Lord that keeps cycling, and that caused a lot of pain in lives. So, putting the Lord first and holding myself down was the right thing to do, but I would always find myself in the opposite position, to where I had put myself back in the center of my life. And because of what that caused within my marriage was a difficult, it put my wife in a difficult place, and it hardened her heart towards me. And now I'm in a position to where, after recognizing the loss that created, it has made me recognize that there's no other place that I want to be than in the fold of the Lord and his love and his mercy. I fear, that because of my lifestyle, because of what my lifestyle was, that there's always a potential to reverse the roles again. I know that right now I have the Lord in the center of my life, but I'm praying and hoping that he remains there, and that I don't have this flip of service, And I think moving forward in life, I feel stronger about that. I'm actually feeling comfortable with where I'm at in life now, and see all this hurt and devastation that I placed on people because of my selfishness. I don't want that. I'm feeling that deep in my core, and I'm tired of that that relationship that I've always had with the Lord. I know that's not what he's wanted for me. I know that's not the way God looks at me. I still struggle with self-condemnation, with figuring out how to truly accept the cross and Christ's grace that comes from that. You know, I know that I don't deserve it. I know in my head and my heart that I do not deserve any of that from him. But I also know, and I believe that he doesn't believe and want that for me. He wants me to accept and release and let it all go. And I kind of feel stronger about being able to do that now in my life where I sit. You know, my needs are met. I have this wonderful church family that I'm surrounded with. It's right now it's good. You know, I'm leaning into it, and that I'm finding, you know, more strength and more courage. I'm gonna hold the Lord in the center, and I feel that he's urging me to lean closer and deeper into the Holy Spirit. And I would encourage everybody to, if you're feeling anything from the Lord, lean into it. You know, don't deny it. You know, don't be afraid of it. You have people, we all have people here in this body that will stand beside you and support you and understand without judgment, without condemnation. I just want to encourage everybody, I guess, not just myself, but I think the Lord has something far greater than we can even imagine sitting in front of us. One of the most important things to me is that, you know, no light be shined on me. In my life, I've put him behind me and I've been that person, but I don't want that anymore. I don't believe in that anymore. But I do believe that the Lord is calling us to be prepared to give an account for the joy that we have, that he brings to us. We have no idea how the littlest thing can be made great because of Christ, and all we have to do is just be ready and prepared to express, you know, what the Lord is asking of us.